anything to drink. I have seltzer water, coffee, water.
I've got... take it from the seltzer water.
Sure.
Thank you.
Orange or key lime.
Orange would be great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Also, what instrument thing on the wall?
What's that?
What's that?
Oh, that's, I'll show you what it is. It's actually a door chime. It's made in Germany. It's a door chime, so like when the door opens, that happens. But see how fragile it is. The strings are so thin that I keep it here because I'm like, my mom gave it to me because it's from Germany, but like.
Wow, that's like angelic.
Yeah, it is, and so yeah, it's a fun little thing.
That's so cool. Oh,
look at the balls, they're made out of wood. Like little severes. It's just like so delicate.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That
and
is
like
so
the little wooden nails.
I feel like it's such a peaceful thing to just like be collecting your thoughts too and like playing with it.
Yeah, just.
That's seriously like heavenly. I love that. What'd you say that's called?
It's like a door chime. I don't know what the German name for it is. But
that's so neat.
My mom has a lot of cuckoo clocks, and she's like, Jordan, do you want one? I'm like, sure. And so I'll probably put it, either here or there.
That's cool. Man, I haven't seen a cuckoo clock in many a year.
I know. Like whenever I spend time at my parents' house, I remember one time my mom has like cuckoo clocks on the wall. I was trying to sleep, and they all went off at like 2 in the morning. I was like, oh my god.
That would scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, it did me too, and I was like,
You're up.
I was like awake. So what have you been up to today?
Not much today. I had a little coffee date with a friend.
Nice.
Nothing too intense, just to hang.
Where did you go?
District Coffee.
Where is that, like in Berryville?
Yeah, it's by, what is it by? Steak Golden, I think is the name of the other coffee shop right in that area.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where that is.
It's just across the street.
Steak Golden. Wait, District Coffee, I know the owner. He's Australian.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I used to work at Red Bicycle on Owensville Road.
Nice.
And I used to serve him coffee, which was ironic because he had his own coffee shop. But he started his own, and like whenever you'd come in, I would ask him about Australia, and he would show me pictures of him swimming with great white sharks. Oh my god, dude.
No. Cool, but no.
I was like, yeah, no. I was like, you're a wild Australian, dude.
I had some family who would feed great whites. I was like, you're insane.
Sharks terrify me.
They're fascinating, but I could never.
Black, soulless eyes.
The mouth. It's just, as soon as you see those teeth, absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I'm not really an ocean person. I like mountains. Kind of like being landlocked here in Tennessee.
It's fair. No sharks here.
No sharks here. No hurricanes.
Yeah, when I lived in Florida, we dealt with hurricanes often.
Really?
We would have to fill up the bathtub with water. It was scary because it was your water could go out. You never know.
Oh, I see. You fill up the bathtub with water.
Yeah, and we had bars and it was not a cool experience.
Wow.
But.
Cool. I'll talk more about that here in a second. Hey everyone, welcome to the Nashville Artist. I'm Jordan, and today Sierra Torres is here.
Hello.
Thank you for coming over. Welcome
Thank you for having me.
So, where are you? You're from Florida?
Yeah, I'm initially from Florida, mostly. I moved here when I was 5 or 6, I think, and then my dad stayed down there, so I was back and forth between here and there for many years, and then back and forth between here in Napa, then here in LA, and then here in Seattle.
Wow.
So that was fun. He moved around a lot.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, cool, I get to experience all of these places.
He's in the military?
No, he's just a business entrepreneur man.
He moves around a lot?
Yeah, always starting a new business, always.
Really?
Always.
That's cool. I'm guessing he's pretty successful with them.
He has a lot of fun doing what he does.
What is an example of one of his businesses?
He was working for, I think it was called G Pharma. It was a weed company that they were doing infused drinks, but before it was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing infused drinks, little candies and stuff like that. As soon as it became legal in some areas, they would migrate there and start working in that area. move around, do more. Yeah, some cool stuff. The one he's working on right now, I forget the name of it. I think it's a like working title, but he tries to like find funding for projects that he believes in or his team believes in, and they'll like match up like donors to cool projects, and it can be like anything from like a band to like a startup company to, you know, whatever you may have it. It's really cool. The stuff that he works with right now is like mainly tech based, which is like the metaverse or whatever right now.
Oh yeah, Facebook or whatever, metaverse.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's terrifying. The stuff he was talking about, it's just like Second Life stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about this Chat GPT bot that like it's based on vocabulary, and like it knows like the entire lexicon of the English language. And
I hate that.
And this person who I follow or whatever said that he like tested it by asking it, I want you to write an article with the King James Bible like vocabulary and then about this topic, and then in the way that I would write it, and then when it did it in like 5 minutes or so, or 50 seconds, I can't remember, like nothing. And then he read it, and he said it was very hard for him to tell that it wasn't him that wrote it.
Oh, no, thank you.
And then he's told the machine to now grade the paper, and then it graded it, and it like knew like how to grade it like properly. It was weird.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and he's like, in 5 years, he's like, it's already smarter than you. And in 2 years, you'll become obsolete. And I'm like, oh my god.
No, thank you. No.
Kill the robots.
Yeah, destroy them.
So, do you have any siblings?
I have 2 half sisters. My dad remarried pretty soon after my parents split, and had the sweetest girls ever. I love them so much. But they're 10 and 11.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're babies.
Are they also artistic like you, or?
I think they're getting to like find out what they like right about now. One of them wants to be a paleontologist.
Oh wow.
I was like, that's interesting. The other one is like super athletic, and I was like, that's not me. Go you, but not me. I don't know how to relate to you.
Oh yeah, what kind of athlete? Did she like run or something?
She does everything. She's just like one of those people. It's like she can pick it up. If she can see someone do it, she can do it.
Oh wow.
She's awesome. She's 10.
Dang.
But yeah, she can dance. She runs. She's just like good at everything.
Oh.
Yeah, they're the coolest girls. Oh, I love them so much.
What are their names?
Valentina and Vida.
And Vida?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Those are really pretty names.
Right? And they were gonna have a third daughter named her Victoria, but I guess they didn't get around to it.
Oh, Victoria and Sierra and all A's.
Oh, all fun. All starting with V's except for me, but it was cute because they wanted to do like Valentina Mia Torres, Vida Mia Torres, which means my love, my life, and then they're gonna do my victory. It's like, that's so cute, a little cheesy and cute. I like it.
Wow. Their names like set them up for success.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. So, what were you into as a little kid?
I think I've always been into art. I swore I was gonna be a marine biologist. Then, you know, sharks are terrifying, so no thank you. I don't know. I would make like dresses out of paper and, much to my mother's chagrin, wear them out. And I don't know, I just loved like building crap.
Building stuff?
Yeah, that was my go-to. It's like the little like model house and that kind of thing where it's just like, I love crafting, and I would like the dress or I did like little model houses every once in a while, or I had loved Polly Pockets, so I would like build little sets for them and loved that stuff. So much fun. How about you?
I was really into, action figures. I used to build a lot of stuff, like popsicle stick houses for my action figures. I had this giant rock in my front yard. My brother and I called it Nevada City. And
nice.
We would build little mud huts on the rock, and we played with our plastic army men on the rocks. And
I love that.
We would create little like waterfalls, like try to diverge this little ditch in our yard to bring water through the rock or whatever. And I would climb all the trees in my yard.
Love that.
I liked exploring, I guess. I grew up on a mountain, and so there was like rocks the size of this house at the bottom of my street that I would climb and play around with.
So cool.
Yeah, and I was just like really into Star Wars, so I was obsessed with my action figures. I collected them, I played with them, I would set up little scenarios.
Nice. My like media obsession was Percy Jackson.
Oh yeah?
Oh my gosh, I love Percy Jackson. Still love Percy Jackson. It's so special.
I'm not too familiar with Percy Jackson. Is that like...
You hurt my feelings.
Was
You
it
need
like
to watch
books?
it. Yeah. I said watch it. You need to read it because the movies are not it, but the books were so good. That's like what got me into reading because my friend made me read it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need the next one. I need the next one. So I read all 10 of them like every 2 years.
Wow.
Just because it's like, oh, brings me back.
Nice. Are they like children's books?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I read a lot of what are they called? Magic Treehouse books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember reading those.
I loved those. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Magic Treehouse.
Yeah, someone else brought that up on the podcast. I was like, oh yeah, dude, I used to be obsessed with those.
Yeah, those were so good.
Because I had a treehouse in my backyard, and so I always imagined like it was, in another
magic.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think I found out about that through Pop Tropica. Do you remember Pop Tropica?
Pop Tropica?
So, the guy who wrote the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, Jeff Kinney, I think is his name, he made a website for kids where it's like just kind of story-based problem solving, and it's so much fun. I loved that game so much growing up. But you have like each island is a theme. So there's like Ghost Story Island, or like there's a Magic Treehouse one, which I think was like Samurai.
Oh yeah.
It was really
I think
cool.
I read that one.
Yeah, it was sick. It was a fun game. It makes you think. But it was a goofy. That was like most of my childhood was Pop Tropica.
Wow. That reminds me, have you ever played Settlers of Catan?
Mm-mm.
It's like a board game, but it kind of reminds me.
Yeah, actually, that is
Because it's like an island, but cool. So, what first got you into art?
Ooh, I honestly don't know, because as long as I can remember, I was doing it. I think just my mom would always give me like a pad and paper, or pad and pen, and the stroller.
In the stroller?
Yeah, she would take me to the park and like push me around, and I'd be doodling.
Wow. So you got into like drawing first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of first through like middle school, and then I was like, music's kind of groovy. I could look into that.
Cool.
Later, but
And then you got into music in middle school?
yeah, I think I was just obsessed with music. Like I was one of those kids that was like, music's my religion. Those little sniveling. It's just everything I did, like I had to have music playing, and my mother would get so angry because she was like, silence is a beautiful thing, please learn to appreciate it, which I do now, but I did not then. So I was like always blasting something, and then she would come and like unplug my radio or whatever I had, and I wasn't allowed to listen to anything except for Christian radio until way too late in life. So I would like sneak my station and like have it real low and just sit next to it and like record it on my iPod Touch if there was a song I liked, and I had like Uncle Kracker songs just in voice memos because I was like, what is this world? But
wow. What bands or artists did you really like?
I was always obsessed with the Cranberries.
Oh yeah.
Joan Jett. I was definitely like an emo Panic at the Disco kid. I don't know, I'm trying to remember what else was like really important to me at the time. I think Cranberries was just one of my main like absolute obsessions, and my mom loved emo music, so like that was the only secular music I was like hardcore allowed to listen to, which made no sense that was what I was allowed to listen to, but not like Cher.
Oh wow.
But it was weird.
What Christian bands or artists did they like really like, or?
I have no idea. Whatever was on WFM, that was
really?
that was it. So it was like all very similar, and Toby Mac and
Toby Mac.
Yeah. Which like no hate to that, it's just not my
Right.
not my favorite.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a little too safe.
Yeah, and then I was like, you're playing like Linkin Park in the other room, and I have to listen to WFM. Why? But it was fun.
Nice. So, did you play music and stuff in school?
I did choir. We didn't really have like a good band program. I went to a really, really small school, so we kind of didn't have enough people to like do much as far as extracurricular work, but yeah, choir.
Nice. Did you do art like drawing and painting as well?
Mm-hmm. I had a weird friendship with our art teacher. She would growl at people. She was a character.
Whoa.
She was a little scary. I liked her.
That's intimidating.
Yeah. And she, like, looked mean. She reminded me a lot of, what's the character from Monsters, Inc.?
Oh,
You
Sully?
get paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
Ross?
Yeah.
I think
Something like that.
that character she looked exactly like her. And she was scary as all get out. But I don't know why we had this, like, understanding. We were friends, but we would, like, yell at each other in class. Because she would, like, pick a fight with me, and then, you know, I was a hellion, and I wasn't having it. And I would pick a fight right back. And it formed an interesting bond.
And then she would start growling at you?
Yes. Actually, yes.
What would it be like?
No, she would just go like, "Rrr," and it's like, what are you doing?
Weird.
It was she growled at my mom. It was like, Miss Souters, chill. But, I loved her. And then, I don't know if she left or got fired, but I know she had a bunch of students to her house once for this field trip, and she had, like, nude self-portraits that she painted, and everyone was like, It's so funny.
Oh, wow.
To me. And then we got another art teacher after that, and, like, she actually had me teach her stuff, which was interesting, because she was, like, hadn't been an art teacher before, and she had only worked in, like, one medium, and my thing was watercolor, and she liked acrylic, but she wanted to learn watercolor, so I was, like, showing her little, like, techniques and stuff I had learned, and it was, like, a really sweet little relationship with her, too. I had cool art teachers.
That's cool.
Grateful for that.
Is watercolor, like, your main, like, I guess, drawing medium, whatever, or painting, whatever?
It was for 5 or 6 years, but now I do more oil. I just like being able to blend. You can't really blend much. I mean, you can. It's just harder with watercolor, and I feel like mistakes are way more permanent, which is cool, but also, like, I don't know, I like being able to, like, physically lift some of the paint off the canvas if I screw it up, because it's like, okay, there's paint thinner, there are things that can help me here, whereas with watercolor, it's like, that's soaked into the page, and it is what it is.
Wow.
But I like both for different reasons, but I usually mix, like, ink with watercolor. I did these, like, kind of realistic style portraits, and then I was at work one day and I had a pen on me, and I was bored, and I had already finished this painting, but I didn't like it, so I started, like, drawing over top of it with all this pen, like, fractures through her face and stuff, and that became, like, a style that I stuck with and, like, would get commissions for when I was, like, 15, and it was, like, it was really fun. It was a really cool, like, oh, I could do art. I like that. People like it. That feels good.
That's awesome. Were there any certain painters or artists then that you looked up to?
There was one called, no, like, classic artist. I wish I got more into that when I was younger, but Heather Mailer, she was, like, an Instagram artist I was obsessed with. She had these little characters that were, like, mostly femme, and they were all, like, head to toe tatted, and she would just always have these, like, really cute little doodles on them, and I thought that was such a cool way to, like, incorporate doodling into cartoon design as well, like, more doodling, like, a layer of it. It was so cute, and they were all, like, kind of tough looking too, which was cute. But
that's cool. Why would you say you're drawn to art and music?
I think a big part of it was, as I learned it, like, the healthiest way to just deal with life. I was taught that very young, and then I think it just, like, was a little natural with my dad leaning. He was a really good illustrator, he just didn't keep up with it. I don't know, just always made more sense to me than, like, academia. Not that the two can't, like, coexist, I just lean more towards one.
Right. How do you develop your artistic skills now?
If I want to get good at something, I just keep doing it, like, every freaking day. Like, I have a whole list of things I want to tackle this year, and I want to do pottery. I want to learn how to make my own pair of trousers, because I, like, almost exclusively wear black slacks, and I go through them so quickly because I run and jump in dress pants and need to not do that probably, but yeah, I want to learn how to do that so I can replace them easily. And mend clothing, because I hate throwing things out. Like, that upsets me so much. It feels like a failure. But there are a bunch of things like that I just want to pick up this year and, like, really set aside, like, a month and just, like, hone it. But we'll see. We'll see if that actually happens. I just really want to. You gotta figure out the resources.
Yeah. I love pottery too. I made that out of pottery and that out of pottery.
You made those?
Yeah.
Those are so sick.
Yeah, I used to work on the wheel, and I have plates and cups and bowls and stuff that I made.
That's cool.
High school and college, I made this too. A little ashtray.
That's rad. Oh my gosh, I love that.
This is a pinch pot. It's one of the first things you make in pottery. It's just simple.
That's sick. I like the stamp designs in it. That's neat.
Yeah. Stamp it. In this one, if you look inside its mouth, there's melted glass. I put the glass in there right before it went in the kiln.
That's so cool.
So it makes...
Is there a little house in there?
Yeah, it's a city inside its mouth.
That's
and
so
there's a cat on the back wall and then a mountain.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's a road in the middle of it leading to a peace sign.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah, I made this in like 10th grade, I think. Yeah, I was in 10th grade.
Wow.
I was obsessed with spades too.
That's so cool.
And then on the back of its head, there's more mountains.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you put in the detail.
Yeah. And see, it's the Cookie Monster.
I love it.
But inside its mouth is a world.
Dude, that's really sick. Oh, see, that makes me want to do it all the more.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite medium as far as physical art is concerned. This is a, what do you call it? A lantern with a candle in there.
That's beautiful.
Has cool design. Yeah.
The colors are nice too. I really like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I love pottery. I want to get a wheel one day and get my own kiln and have a little pottery zone. That would be fun.
That'd be sick. Check Facebook Marketplace, man. I see it on there every so often.
Yeah? Like a kiln?
Yeah, someone had, well, I don't know what each part is, but they had like different stages of the process. They had the tools for it.
Wow.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
I'm sure. Yeah, it seems neat.
Playing with your hands. Okay, cool. So of all time, who are some of your favorite bands and artists?
Still the Cranberries. Gotta always hold them close. I'm really obsessed with this band Diiv, which is spelled D-I-I-V. I said Div for the longest time. And then I listened to their little like 20-minute YouTube documentary and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a fake fan. It's been so many years that I've been saying it wrong. But love them. This band, Sorry. Cherry Glazer. Stella Donnelly is awesome. I think she's Australian. Her little accent will show through in some of her songs and it's really cute. Really good lyrics too. I love Lucy Dacus, however you say it. I don't know, I could like rattle off way too many.
Cool. Do you have like any favorite painters or anything now?
Not particularly.
Or photographers?
More like local people. Like I love Hannah Hall's work. Jeremy Aguirre. Kyle Neach is awesome. There's so many like incredibly talented people here. Wavy Kirt. They're so good. I know I'm missing people. I feel like a lot of the art that I've like obsessed over the past couple of years has all been local. Cause like when I was younger, I really wanted to move to Seattle because I'd never seen like a creative. I've spent most of my time in Columbia, Tennessee, which there's not an art scene there really. Well, there might be now, but there wasn't. And when I went to Seattle, I was like, oh my gosh, buildings are colorful and people have dyed hair and this is so cool. I've never seen this consistently. People get weird looks where I'm at if this happens, and I like connect way more with this energy or whatever. And when I started hanging out in East Nashville, I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like Seattle. Like it has this cool art vibe and it's not gloomy weather. What a plus. And then I just like fell in love with the town and then all of its inhabitants. But yeah.
Cool. So, where do you find inspiration?
Lately, I've been really into these art magazines that I got from a yard sale. Oh shoot, what's it called? High Fructose.
High Fructose?
I love those. I got into those when I was like my first coffee shop job several years ago, and I totally forgot they existed. And then I went to this yard sale for this like couple that was moving to New York, and they were just getting rid of so much for so cheap. And they were getting rid of a whole bunch of those books, and I was just like, or those magazines, and I was like, dude, like, you could take these to make haze and make so much money, but don't, because I want them. But I have like 12 now.
Wow.
And it's definitely like whenever I'm feeling creatively dried up, I just like look at those and it's like, oh yeah, there's just so much. Like hitting a wall, just you can't hit a wall if you realize how unlimited it can be, you know?
Yeah.
And that definitely like gives me perspective of like, oh yeah, like there are so many different areas I could like venture into and break this like writer's block of art. But
Yeah, I mean, you could even put a blade of grass under a microscope and then study like how like, the design of it
right
up close.
Looking at the cells of each.
Yeah, and then that could be artistic.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, that's a really good example.
Or studying eyeballs because they are like planets.
Yeah.
So, what would you say your strengths and weaknesses as an artist are?
I always joke that my fatal flaw is my time management or lack thereof, as you got to experience today. Sorry.
Okay.
So I feel like I frazzle myself, and then I get like worked up, and then I get out of the headspace to do art a lot because of it.
I feel like you're like always trying to catch up with yourself.
Yeah. So like even if I set time aside for myself, I'm late to that, and it's like, doggone it, I gotta chill. But I don't know, strengths. I feel like I can bounce around in style a lot, which is a good and bad thing because I'm bad at consistency. But I don't know, I feel like I pull inspiration from like so many different areas, like everything is just exciting, and because of that I get to like get into a different color scheme every day or something, and it's like it's really exciting to do, but it's also kind of frustrating, like I said, with continuity. Like it's just hard to have any sort of thematic thing happen when I want to do like a series, so I'll mix like my paints beforehand and make myself use those colors. I had this like 3-part picture. I had a really close friend who was going through some domestic violence at the time with her like stepdad, and I asked like if I could do some art with it once she was out of the situation, and like try to raise up some money for a women's shelter, because it was just such a like scary thing, and she was such an awesome person. Anyways, she would try to like talk about it with our classmates or like other people, and no one could hear about it unless she like really sugarcoated the situation. So she would make a joke out of it or like make it just really like, you know, palatable. And I was always like, why are you sugarcoating this? Like this isn't a thing that you have to be gentle for other people's comfort level. Like this is something you're going through. And so I made this line of 3 women's portraits, and each one has like a little injury. Like there's a black eye, bloody nose, and a patch on her across her nose. And it's all like candy colored, so it's sugar-coated abuse was the name of the line. But that's like the only consistent art style I think I ever stuck to, other than those like fractured watercolors. I totally digress. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. It's amazing that you were able to kind of have a contribution to her through your art.
She's one of my favorite people on the planet to this day.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite medium?
Like with painting or like in general?
Yeah, like
art?
Singing, painting, photography.
Probably singing, like music, songwriting in general. I love writing. I love recording and like writing in the studio, like with all the weird little parts. My friend Parker, you know Parker Forbes?
Yeah.
He's helped me a lot, like figure that out. Because I'm not good on the like engineering side. I don't understand. I don't know the words. I don't know all of the technical stuff. So I'll tell him like, I want this to sound angsty but like pretty, and he'll be like, okay, you need this pedal and this effect, and it's like, thank you. You know exactly what I want, and I'm just using random adjectives, but thank you.
Wow.
It's fun. It's been a lot of fun, but teaching me a lot by mistake.
Yeah, that's cool that you can just say how you feel, and then he's like, yeah, I know what technology you need.
Yeah. He knows me and my like music taste well enough that he's just like, yeah, okay, that's not the word, but yeah.
Cranberries is a good example of that. It is angsty, but it's also pretty.
Yeah, it's like dreamy.
Yeah.
Like dreamy grit.
Dreams, zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Zombie's like beautiful, but it's also just like ugh.
War torn. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so good.
Wow. So, are you working on any music right now?
Yeah, I actually I recently ended my band after I think 4.5 years roughly. It was just time, you know. So I'm starting a new like actual solo stuff under the name Gin Wife.
Gin Wife?
Gin.
Gin.
Yeah.
Gin.
Like thinking like a 1950s alcoholic.
Gin Wife.
Yeah. I wrote a song called Gin Wife, and then I was like, actually I like this title. So it was just one of those, but it was like about having to pop Quaaludes as a housewife.
Wow.
But I don't know why that like scenario always humored me or amused me as a kid, but not like in a haha that's so funny, but in like a why was that allowed?
Right.
But, yeah, I'm excited for that. It'll be kind of. I was trying to explain how I want like the visual side of it to be too, because I'm like I said I'm so bad with continuity, so I'm trying to get some help in that department. But I was thinking like motel chic, you know, like pretty gross.
Pretty gross.
Like red lipstick and a suit by like a motel nasty pool, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of vibe where it's just like it's just not right. Something's just kind of out of place, you know. I love that.
Really classy outfits next to like the scum of the
yeah
or whatever.
yeah. I love that idea, like kind of like French like pretty fashion culture meets like the 80s Brit Punk, you know, like want that to merge, but we'll see. That's where I'm at right now, but it's totally subject to change.
That's a good, I mean, I can visualize that.
Good.
Especially with the gin life thing, the Quaaludes thing.
Yeah.
It makes me think of like Michelle Pfeiffer and Scarface, or like, yeah, I don't know. I know what that. I've seen enough movies to know how that plays out.
Yeah. It doesn't usually end well, but
yeah,
it's fine.
I know. It's chaotic, but it's also like living on edge.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of that like Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction vibe too.
Yeah, self-sabotage.
Yeah, but like elegant self-sabotage.
But in like a classy kind of way.
Yeah. You know, like cigarettes can be really cool to see, but it's like, I'm killing myself. This is great.
Yeah. Moving on edge.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Nashville now?
I've been like active in Nashville for maybe 5 or 6 years, but I've like officially moved here almost 2 years ago when I finally moved out of my folks' house and moved up to Berry Hill. Still in the same house. I love that area so much. It's just like we're right next to the highway, so it's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what like initially brought you here?
I think just the people. Like I started working with Anna Hall on like music videos and just being an extra set of hands, and I was like, dang, I really love this crowd. Like it's very inspiring. Like way more than the magazines. Just being around people and like seeing, it's like, okay, if you can do this, you're my age, you're busy as all get out, then I can do it. Because like even people I'm like older than, I see them just doing so much, and it's like, okay, that's really good to see, because sometimes you hit at that wall where it's just like, what am I doing, you know? And then being able to see so many like incredibly kind and talented people around you like all the time just active, it's like, okay, like there's a space for this, you know? And it's just nice. I feel like East really lends to that lifestyle too. It's like,
I love living here.
It's so good.
The bubble.
It is.
World.
I was talking to the singer for Bambara, which is another one of my favorite bands, and he was like, Nashville's such a microcosm, and he's like, that's pretentious as hell, I know, but it's a microcosm. And I was like, no, it is, but it's a fun microcosm. We're cute.
Yeah. I like to think of this place like a gym for the creatives.
That's a great way to put it.
Everyone sees each other getting better, and it makes you want to get better at your art. And some people are really heavy lifters or whatever, and they're like, wow, inspiring. Like,
that's such a good way to put it. Oh my gosh, yes. I love that.
Like an artist gym where everyone's trying to get better and everyone feeds off each other's energy.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. I really like that.
That's how I see this, especially the East Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, because I mean, you go to different parts and the artistic vibe is not necessarily there, but here it's like you can be your crazy bohemian self here.
Right, yeah. I always laugh because, like, I had this mullet for a while, and I wandered over from east into west one day, and I was like, I don't belong here. I feel it. Like, 3, like, minivan moms walked by, and they just, like, kind of looked at me, because it's like, yes, I do have part of my head shaved and a mullet. Like, I'm aware what I look like. Please leave me alone. But it was very funny. But, it's crazy, like, 15 minutes apart, and you feel like a big cultural shift.
Yeah.
It's dramatic.
Yeah. It's wild how the city can, like, be broken up like that.
Yeah.
Because you go to some cities and it seems like it's all one ecosystem, or it just seems like one vibe.
Right.
But here, there's different pockets, there's different genres, there's different scenes, house shows. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always seeing, like, where is this venue? And there's like a whole sub-culture for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Like, the electronic scene is apparently huge here.
Really?
DJs
Oh, yeah.
and, like, EDM. There's, like, I've been to, like, a few underground EDM places.
No way.
Like, the first year I came here, for Halloween, someone told me about some Halloween show, and my friend and I got an Uber there, and it was, like, so weird, because when we got there, it's, like, this 18-wheeler, like, truck yard, and then in the middle of the truck yard is this warehouse, and that's where the party was, and there was, like, DJs.
What?
And, yeah, it was, like, like, the Uber driver was like, where is this here? Are we in the right place?
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy, and it was like there were like 100 people there, and it was like underground, and like the building's like unnamed and all this stuff.
That's so cool.
Like, wow.
Are you into EDM? Like that rave scene?
Not really. I was just, wanting to party,
Of course.
It was Halloween, and I was like, yeah, I'll go, yeah, fun. Yeah.
Yeah, Nashville does Halloween well.
Yeah.
It's always, every year's insane.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is insane. This is like something you see out in the movies.
Yeah.
Like, it reminded me of Matrix. When you follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah.
And then you go to, like, and there's, like, Aphex Twin playing.
That's so funny.
That's what it reminded me of. I was
Oh
like, this is, like, so industrial, like, I don't know, like, 90s industrial. It was cool. I haven't been to one of those since that's been that dramatic. Some of them are, like, at people's studios.
Yeah.
Pretty normal. But to have it in a warehouse in the middle of, like 18-wheeler yard or whatever, I was like, how do you even get access to this?
Yeah, right? In Nashville?
Yeah.
Bizarre. I have a friend who's like super, super, super into the rave scene, and it's like, she's like, one day I'm gonna get you to one. I was like, dude, I'm so freaking scared of that. Absolutely not.
The music's scary.
It is.
Oh my god, dude, it's like anxiety.
I know. I feel like I'm gonna get like immediately overstimulated and just freak the hell out. It's like, I don't need to do that to myself.
Yeah, it's like you're partying with robots.
Yes, and the fun goodies that get passed around at those shows.
Right.
Turn people into machines for sure.
It's like, yeah, the robots are feeding off the human flesh.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's those, they start with writing the Bible, and then,
Become like a wasteoid.
Wasteoid. New band name for sure. Your next favorite EDM artist.
Wasteoid.
Perfect.
So, what is something you learned living here?
I can't go all the time. I think my schedule is like always booked 3 weeks in advance, like even just for like social hangs, and I love and hate that, and I think I need to learn to just like, okay, actually pick time to rest, because I don't ever rest.
Say no.
Yeah, like I was up and out until 6 a.m. last night. Yeah, it's just like, I have to get up early. That's gonna be fun.
Wow.
I got like an hour, it's like, it's okay. I'm used to that, so I feel like I'm just always operating at like half capacity, and I'm trying to fix that.
I am.
Obviously off to a great start, but yeah, I think that's a big thing that, like, since just not having like, parents to say, hey, idiot, sleep. Now it's like, oh, I need
You only live once.
Yeah, I need to be a little more responsible. But yeah, I don't know. 21's a fun age too, though. Just like go ham.
Yeah. Oh yeah, What were you, like, where were you at last night?
Diiv, Honey Tree, and Dukes.
Oh, yeah, Dukes.
Yeah, last night was insane. I helped a biker up. I watched him get hit by a car. Yeah, it was insane. This woman, like, tried to cut him off, and then she just clipped him, and he, like, swerved and couldn't regain. It was really scary. So I helped him up, helped him bring the shambles of his bike over, and it's just, like, he was dazed and, like, limping and holding his ribs, and I was just like, okay, I'm calling the cops. Like, we didn't taken care of, so then we had to, like, get our statements, and it's just, like, insane.
Dang, it's sad.
Yeah.
Where did he get hit?
Shelby in 9th, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was insane. But it's just like, I watched her do it, and I was just, there's nothing I could do. It was just like, and she gets out of the car, and she comes over, and she was like, you didn't have your turn signal. And I was like, man, like, I watched that whole thing play out. You were not paying attention. And she got pissed, obviously, and then she's like, I need to go check on my kids in the car. And she goes and just takes off. And it was like, no, that is a hit and run. No.
And that's not a good example for your kids either.
I don't think they were kids. I think she was just lying.
Oh.
Yeah, she was like, I think on something. Like, she was not mentally present, for sure. But, yeah, that was a fun night.
What time was that?
Oh my gosh, that was, like, early. Probably, like, 6 or 7?
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little later. I don't know. But it was, like, it was not late enough.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I wonder, like, when this happened. Like, was this at, like, 1 in the morning?
No. Yeah, it was really scary.
Dang, man, that's, yeah, I know some other people that have been hit or they've flown off their bike and whatever, and I'm just like, I'd rather be in a steel vehicle.
Yeah, for sure. Thank God he had a helmet on, man, because, like, his head hit the ground so hard.
You heard it?
Yeah. Yeah, because he went down, like, sideways and just on the pavement. It was like, oh my gosh.
Might have, like, road rash on his leg.
He, like, I mean, we didn't see any blood on him. And I was just like, dude. He popped up quick, too. And I was just like, your shock and adrenaline is awesome right now, but please go to the hospital. Like, please.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
But he was okay at the end of it, so that's good.
that's good.
I stayed with him until I knew that he was fine, but it
Wow.
was insane.
So, what is some advice you'd give to someone who's going to move here and do art? Art meaning everything under the umbrella of art, music, whatever.
You cannot meet the people that you want to work with if you stay home. And I know that sounds really obvious, but I have a lot of friends who are, like, really want to get involved in the scene, but they won't go out. And it's like, you don't have to go party or, like, even drink. Just, like, go. There's so many events. Take advantage of that. I think that's something I definitely, like, missed out on my first year here.
You cannot be a part of the scene if you don't go out.
Yeah. Like, if you want to be involved, make yourself involved.
I know some people that are like that too.
Yeah. And it's hard to watch too, because I've been there, and it's like, you gotta change that habit. You gotta get your social battery charged up somehow, and just, like, push away in there for a little bit, and, like, and don't listen to people who complain about the area, because everyone does.
Like, what do they complain about?
I just feel like everyone's like, Nashville, you know, and it's like, Nashville's great, shut up. I love it here.
That's interesting. Yeah, I love living here. I don't... What kind of people, like, are saying this? Just, like, regular people or, like...
I feel like a lot of artists in town, too, which, like, you know, I don't know, a lot of artistic, stereotypical, kind of just default mode, I feel like, is kind of being a malcontent. But...
Chronic malcontent.
Chronic malcontent. Next band, for sure. We'll have Wastoid and Chronic Malcontent on the same bill, please. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of negativity that isn't, like, intentional. It's just, like, everyone wants to move to LA or move to New York, and it's, like, obviously we're not LA or New York, but we're our own thing, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
It just needs to be appreciated for what it is instead of people trying to make it something else, I guess.
What do people like, say, like, it's not good enough? Or, like...
I don't even know. Just, like, it's too small, there's rednecks, there's this, and it's like, well, the redneck thing, like, I get. It's a fun breed of people, but I don't know. People get mad at the gentrification, but people really don't like what was there before. People get mad, and it's just like, okay, well, if you're not gonna be happy either way, shush.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, first world problems.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You can complain about everything. It's kind of like the pessimist who lives a horrible life because when he looks through the window, he doesn't see the sunset. He sees the specks on the window.
Ooh. Love and hate that.
Yeah. Or he doesn't look for virtue, he looks for fault. And when he finds it, he's delighted.
Yeah.
It's like a sad, ugly life.
Yeah. It's like confirmation, you know? It's like you're going to find what you're looking for.
Exactly. Search and you will find.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all about that. I mean, whatever you look for, you'll find it. Whether it's good, bad, or anything.
I feel like this past year I've been trying so hard to like not have any expectations. And that's like absolutely changed my life. I went through like a big breakup after 5 years this past October, and I thought it was going to be like the end of my world. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. There's so much to life. And it's just like, oh, that's nice. That's good. It's a good thing.
Time for yourself.
Yeah.
Time to kind of invest in what you want to get into and not have to do this.
Right.
Are you coming?
Yeah. Can I go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, can I go? Yeah. Yeah, this is a very good city to, I mean, I'm sure it's great, you know, being in a relationship here too, but like when you can just go and just go anywhere you want, go to any show you want, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how you grow in the city, is you kind of have to be spontaneous.
For sure, yeah. And I never got to be, so it was just like, and I mean, 5 years, that was my whole like end of my teens, entering my 20s, and I was just like never experienced adult dating before, and it was just like, wow, this is like a new interesting scene for it.
Wow, yeah.
Nashville's very frisky.
Frisky?
Yeah, like everyone's just like, I don't know, a little snaky about it, but it's funny.
Snaky about?
Like the dating scene, it just gets weird.
When you say as in like they're fickle or like?
There's just so much overlap. If you know somebody, you've probably dated somebody that they've dated, or they're currently dating them and you, or it's just like, yeah, it was interesting. Like there was this one guy who like asked me out for drinks and like found out he was dating one of my roommates, and I was like, ew.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so funny. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is, I mean, the higher you get in this scene, the more connected you are with everyone.
Yeah, and everyone's so connected, which is like nice and not nice. Sometimes it feels like a small school again. It's like,
yeah.
Ooh, things go like wildfire here. Like if you mess up, the town will know. And it's just
right.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah, I've heard people telling me like, you gotta be careful because you can get canceled here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's a hell of a way to live, man.
Yeah.
To fear that, I'm like,
tiptoeing.
It's like, yeah, like you can't even fully be yourself or have your own opinions if you're afraid someone's gonna like dislike you and then spread some trash about you, you know? It's like, it's a very small way to live,
yeah.
But I understand why you would be afraid, you know?
Especially if you're trying to like work in the music scene or something where it's like, oh, like I need opinion to be in, you know, a good light, and that sucks to have to need that, but
yeah, and it is kind of weird because like you want to be respected here, but then again you can't be friends with everyone,
right? And
so like you want to leave a good impression on anyone you hang out with, but then again you're like, I can't invest in everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to come to terms with, because like you see people out and you're acquaintances with them and you wave and smile and maybe hug or shake their hand, but there's so many people doing so many different things that like you kind of have to be able to float around, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said with the spontaneity too. You need to be accessible in an interesting way.
Yeah.
But
and you kind of like have to not get tied down to one group. I've learned.
Definitely not.
Like doing this podcast, I've jumped around a lot to different people, and it's kind of weird because like someone will be on podcast, you'll get close to them, I guess, on the podcast, whatever, and then like, I don't know, you're just like, there's like that expectation thing, kind of like, are we supposed to be best friends now, or you know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Like I imagine maybe not, but I imagine Joe Rogan's like, he can't be friends with everyone.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
But everyone knows who he is, so it's like he has to be kind, I guess.
Right. And when like you're interviewing too, like you learn so much about a person, but it's not necessarily vice versa.
Yeah,
and it's like
you also learn that courtesy is not consent. You know what I mean? If someone's kind to you, nice or whatever, doesn't mean that they're like all of a sudden like super into you or really like about what you're doing. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to like remember that too. That way you don't, hurt your heart.
Right. Or have expectations too, and just it's hard to not put expectations on people around you sometimes too, especially in like an art scene that's so reliant on other people.
Yeah, and we're kind of each our own public figure.
Yeah. And now we have, all of this wonderful technology to just further and like literally have numbers to look at and be like, oh, this person's this popular or this important. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's living by a number now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
No. I mean, it is cool to like be able to choose who you want to pick out or like see, because there's just like an ocean. Because like back in the day when there wasn't social media, it's like the only way to find people, I guess, was going out.
Right. Now
you can go out on the internet and interact and meet all kinds of people without actually seeing them.
Yep.
And
Which, there's benefits to it. Like, I made a friend the other day, we went on a walk, because her and I have been friends on Instagram for a while and, like, had a bunch of mutuals, and I was like, cool, like, I hope you don't kill me. Rad.
Right.
Now we're buds.
Yeah.
She didn't kill me, so, I mean, here to tell the tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't kill me. I just realized.
What is your biggest personal growth from last year to this year?
I think not being in that relationship was like the launching pad for so many different areas of life just changing. And I think I got to learn really quickly how good change can be instead of like rejecting it. So maybe just being a little more like open to my surroundings, I think, than I'd been in years. It's been the biggest area that I've just been like, oh my gosh, life is so good,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just attitude, good attitude. Or at least trying to always maintain that. I was on such a high for so many months. I was just like, yeah. It's like, seasonal depression happens, and it's like, I think this is the first year that I've not experienced it, which has been nice. But it's just like, okay, a little scared. Don't want it to creep up on me, but
right.
Yeah. I'm answering in a really roundabout way, but
no. Yeah. However you want to answer that, I mean, it's up to you.
It's just like the mantra of like no expectations has been really, really, really helpful for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, no expectations is huge. Like, the world's gonna do its thing.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. So you can't hold on to anything, really. Because nothing's really tangible at the end of the day.
Right. Everything ends, everything starts, everything.
Yeah. Everyone's their own being, everyone's doing their own thing. Like, it's hard to expect what someone you think they're gonna do and not, because like, people change.
Yeah. And I think that was hard too, because I'm a planner,
Yeah.
So it's like, I would get so upset if like someone would cancel or something had to get shifted, or it was just like, I planned this out like by the grid. You don't understand how much it throws off my schedule. And then it occurred to me, it was just like, why am I putting that expectation constantly? Like, there's nothing wrong with planning, but putting the expectation that's always going to play out the way you expected it to, it's just like,
right.
Okay, that starts to like sour the times when it doesn't. That could still be a good day or still be a good productive hour,
Right.
But,
yeah, try not to take things personally.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really big.
And like for me, that was always grounded in like insecurity and expectation. So it's like, okay.
That's awesome. Self-awareness is huge, especially here.
Yeah, it is very important.
Because you can end up making music, doing art that you think other people like, but you don't really like.
Yeah.
And there are people that do that, and they're successful at it, and they're unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's the worst, when you're successful and unhappy.
Yeah, that's
the ultimate failure.
Yeah.
Because you got everything you wanted, and you were not happy with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
On that note. That's one thing about Nashville too that I think that is a negative is people won't call you out.
Oh yeah, I know.
So like you said with self-aware. Just thinking about that.
They will not call you out. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that.
If you, well, yeah. Sometimes you're like, this person's friendly to my face.
Yes.
But I don't know if they're really friendly to me.
Right.
Or they, I don't know. Sometimes you can feel like you're friends with them or whatever on social media, but like they look at all your stuff, but it doesn't seem like they really support you, I guess. I don't know.
No, for sure. It's like that Southern hospitality thing meets modern.
Yeah, I had to learn that quick because kind of where I came from, the Southern hospitality kind of thing is big where someone would be like, oh, if I knew you were coming in today, I would have made you a sandwich. And it's like, you're patting yourself on the back for something you've never done or you didn't do.
That's a great point, yeah.
Like,
where are you from?
Chattanooga.
Okay.
Look, I'm out in Georgia, but it's in Chattanooga. But yeah, I mean, no shade to Chattanooga, but I just realized a lot of people's attitudes because they don't want, like, no one wants to hurt anybody. And so instead they'll just, which kind of hurts more. It's kind of a slight because it's like, you smiled to my face, but I don't know if it was really genuine.
Right.
And I bought into it. So.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you're like playing on my. Now I'm feeling naive, but I really just want to be, more open-minded with people. But it's like you have to have your guards up a little bit with niceness. It's like that's such bull. I hate that.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I'm like I try not to like think about things as nice. I just like because niceness is a really selfish thing because it's the want for you to like me. I'm nice to you because I want you to like me.
Like performative nice.
Exactly. Whereas kindness comes from the heart. Like I'm kind to someone because it reflects who I am and I want to be, a positive energy to someone. Not trying to make them like me, but, so I've like had to learn, there's two differences to, niceness and kindness. Anyways.
No, I like that. That's a really good point. It's especially something to be aware of in Nashville, for sure.
Or you'll, sometimes backhanded compliments.
Oh, nothing fills me with white hot rage the way that does. Oh, I will go feral. I just want to murder people when that happens.
Or passive aggression.
The passive aggressive, I have no patience for that. When people do that, I will call them out. It's just like, hey, obviously you have a problem with me. Let's talk about it so we can get past it, not have this, whatever this is here, unnecessary.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, passive aggression is, and backhanded compliments, you gotta be really careful and not feed into them because, if you let them, so I've also noticed this, people will try to compliment you and then see how you react to build you up, and then the backhanded compliment will come later to bring you down. So it's you have to be you have to be somewhat suspicious of, not really all the time, but compliments and or, complaints or whatever about you. You just kind of have to know your worth and understand it's not, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if they like what I'm doing, it matters if I like what I'm doing,
Back to that self-awareness thing again.
Yeah.
I guess add that to the list of things to tell people who move here. Be self-aware.
Yeah.
Practice self-awareness. Because, that's an important thing.
Yeah, professional courtesy here is everyone just wants to be, you tread lightly on everyone because no one, obviously, we were talking about, no one wants to be called ignorant or mean or, canceled or whatever.
Right.
So you'll have a lot of surface level relationships.
Yeah.
But that's probably how it is in LA and New York.
I'm sure.
It's probably even worse in LA, but
I'm not a fan of LA.
I've never been there, but all I've heard is, people will be really fake and you kind of have to read through the stuff.
Yeah.
Because everyone's trying to make it and it's like a crab bucket. Oh, you're doing really well. Now I'm intimidated. You must be the enemy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Ew. It's such a gross, the competitive nature.
Yeah.
Which I feel like Nashville is usually pretty okay at avoiding. Like, it's very much like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, or like, hey, I just like you, like, I'll support you, you know? And
yeah.
I do see a lot of that in the indie scene here, which is nice. The
or
DIY.
like, you're good at what you do, that doesn't mean that I'm not good at what I do.
Right, yeah.
Or your success is not a reflection of my failure or lack of success or anything like that.
Right.
Which that also, you know, getting through insecurity and stuff, you kind of realize that.
Yeah. If you can get past the, like, everyone being friendly acquaintances versus friends, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the people who do pop that bubble a little bit, like, it's like a fiercely loyal scene. But it's so hard to get past that barrier.
Yeah.
But.
Cool. Well, changing subjects here. We've gotten
Sorry.
deep in their life. No, this is good. I think people need to hear this kind of stuff because they might be thinking the same thing and not hearing anyone talk about it.
Sure, yeah. No one calls anyone out, so back to that.
We're calling them out.
Yeah, come on, guys. Obviously, we're not contributing to the problem at all, ever.
We're like the best thing. We're perfect.
We're superior.
Yeah. So, how do you consume media? Like, do you watch YouTube or like?
I started watching YouTube when I run, like on the treadmill and stuff. That's fun. Otherwise, I'm a huge podcast person. Past 2 years, I've gotten like heavily into it because I was working in a warehouse. So I realized that like I can only listen to the same album so many times before I hate it, and I just wasn't in a place of like wanting to hear new music for a while. So I was just like finding all of these podcasts and like realizing I could learn while I was actually getting paid. That was kind of groovy. And then now I work in the kitchen at Race Parlor most of the time, and I love that because I just pop your buds in, and I was listening to a bunch of your episodes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the other day I was like, that's fun. That's sick. But yeah, there's some really cool like local ones too. Freeze, Northeast to Freeze did Freeze TV.
Oh yeah.
There, that was fun. But
Is that still going on?
I think he just started it back up, but I don't know. I did one with him like 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
And I think he was on hiatus, but I think it's back up, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that.
What is Freeze TV? Is it just like...
It's like a YouTube video where he was doing Zoom calls with people and interview them that way because it was like mid-pandemic, and he just had like, you know, both of the panels up, and so it was like a little, you could watch the interview or you could just listen to it as a podcast. So it's cute. It was really cool. He does so much. I love him. He's such a sweetie.
Yeah, I saw him play at it was in Adams, Tennessee. It was outdoors, camping festival, but it was really good.
Where's Adams?
It's like northeast of here, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember what the festival was called. Bob Fest, that's what it is.
Bob Fest.
I saw him at Bob Fest this past year. It was really good. And I went to, what do you call it, Space Prom.
Yeah. Oh man, I did not have like the energy for Space Prom this year. I was so bummed. I had a ticket. I was in my suit. I pulled up and I was like, I'm gonna do one ring around, and if I can't find parking, I'm going home. And then I went home. I was so tired.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I love Space Prom.
What podcast do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of like, I guess it's called theater podcast. It's like a show, you know.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Amelia Project. It's like this English dark comedy sort of thing about like people faking their own deaths, and they go through this organization called the Amelia Project because it was founded by Amelia Earhart, who faked her own death with a plane crash or disappearance.
Wait, what? She faked her death?
No, it was just like that played into the plot of the show.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It was cool. Well, I mean, not to my knowledge. I don't know.
Yeah, in 2nd grade, I did a whole project on Amelia Earhart.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always really fascinated by her because of Amy something in Night at the Museum too. I was like, I must learn more. This is cool. But that I just started one about like, I'm not very educated in the way of philosophy, but I would like to be. So I started listening to one called Philosophize This.
Oh yeah, I've listened to that.
It was really interesting. I really liked I didn't know what the word root for philosophy was philo, which is like to love or be affiliated with something, and then Sophia is wisdom, so it's like to love wisdom. And that's what philosophy means. I think that's so cute.
Yeah.
That made me happy. Other than that, I love Welcome to Nightville. That's like what got me into podcasts.
Welcome to Nightville?
It's like a radio DJ talking to this fictional town, and it's very nonchalant about like just the most morbid, insane crap happening. It's like a cosmic horror. That one's fun. There's so many. I go through a podcast like a month and I'll listen to all 5,000 episodes. Mythology is really good. That's one I recommend to everyone. It'll just go through like different cultures I didn't even know had like such a crazy ancient history, and it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, mythology's very interesting.
Dude, it's so interesting. Egyptian mythology.
Yeah, I was say Set and like Horus.
Just Ma'at in general, like the balance of, it's like the yin and yang, same like principle of like energies must balance energies, and you know, like if there is a really good, then there must be a really bad, and that if there is day, there must be night. You know, like that's why I think it's Ra that has to die daily and get reborn, and that's day, and then he dies, and that's night, but he has to fight, or the people on the boat that ferries him through the 12 realms or whatever of their version of the underworld. I'm forgetting the name of.
Hades or
I forget, but they have to like fight off this thing called, I think. I know I'm gonna remember it wrong. I can't remember the name of the giant snake. But that's like the counterpart to Ra.
To Ra? And
I really hope I'm remembering this wrong, because I could totally be talking out my ass.
Well, no, I just want to know so I can look this up and watch it, because it sounds very fascinating.
It's so cool.
It's Ra, like, what, his story or something? How would I search this?
Ra, night and day. Yeah, you should definitely check out that podcast, because they'll go through all the different cultures, and you can just like pick the ones that are Egyptian.
The one that's called Welcome to Nightville?
No, mythology.
Oh yeah, mythology. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm really fascinated with this.
Oh, it's so good. Lore is also cool in that same realm of like just different cultures having like interesting overlap with like things that they've seen. Like elves are such a like universal mythology or like mythological thing that different cultures call different things, and it's like when you put the dots together, it's just like, that's really interesting, like weird specifics too, of just like to a region of like different people saw different things, but their culture called it different words, but it is the same like beast, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the thought, like, what kind of, like, it takes a certain kind of creative person to come up with all of this lore or whatever. Like, how do you even like make a story like this? Or, like,
yeah, how do you jump from A to B? Like, that is so dramatic.
And how do you have an explanation for everything? You know what I mean? Like you said, Ra, the whole day and night thing, and then there's like an explanation for why that happens, and like, how do you even come up with a reason for that?
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, Greek mythology is really cool about that too.
Yeah.
You know about like Echo?
A little bit. The person who like talked in the cave and heard their voice.
Yeah, because she was in love with Narcissus.
Oh, yeah.
And when he died, because Hera cursed him, Hera had also cursed her because she didn't rat on Zeus when he was like fooling around with a bunch of other dryads. And she had to like repeat everything, because she was like, fine, if you're, you know, not going to be transparent, then I'll let you just say everyone else's words. So she always has to repeat like at least the end of what people say. And when Narcissus finally dies, because he drowns, because he's like so taken in by his reflection, she like dissipated and like hid in the corners of like caves and all these like places. I forget why it was that she went into these areas, but so the lore behind that is whenever you like hear an echo, it's because you're hearing her respond to you. And it's like, that's where she ended up. She just like dispersed.
Wow.
It's just, that kind of stuff's so cool. It's like, that didn't even need an explanation. It's just nice.
Yeah.
To have.
And just to have someone explain something, why when you yell and it echoes, and someone's like, well, that's actually Echo doing that, not you.
Yeah. It's just like, oh.
Wow, now I have this like whole thought whenever I go into caves or anywhere there's an echo.
Yeah, and it's like with all of those stories too, it's like you get why people believed it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, well, I guess that makes sense. It's like, sure.
Yeah, or like people that believed in the sun,
Yeah.
Apollo as the god. It's like, I can see why, I mean, it's a big fireball in the sky. I mean, what could be bigger than that, you know? Like,
you see it going across, it makes sense that it's charioted.
Yeah.
It's so cool, yeah. I love this stuff so much.
Dang. Yeah, I'm going to be going on a mythology deep dive on YouTube.
Dude, let me know what you think of that podcast too.
Okay, yeah, well. Is there anything you would like to add that I might not have asked you about yourself?
Not particularly. I can't think of anything.
Okay. What episodes have you listened to of this podcast? The Nashville artist.
I've listened to June's. I went through and picked the people I know, and I was like, I'm gonna start with these. Listen to June's. I listened to Archie Blue. I have a few queued up. I want to hear Ava's. And you just do. How do you say her last name?
Bethard.
Bethard. Okay.
I thought it was Beat Hard.
I thought it was Beathard. So I never know. The guy who used to be Stained Lens on Instagram, Jeremy Aguirre. I've been saying Aguirre for years, and then someone said his name, and I was like, oh no! I've said Aguirre to his face so many times. He was too nice to correct me. But I'm trying to remember because there were some people I didn't know their names, and I just had it on shuffle when I was working kitchen the other day. But yeah, I plan on listening to all of them. I really liked what I heard.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it's great. I love that you're doing this. It's so cool. I love this community.
Yeah.
Just Nashville in general. So anything that's just perpetuating or celebrating that makes me really happy.
Yeah. When I first moved here, August of 2017, the whole scene is kind of overwhelming. Everyone's so good at what they do. They have their own place. They have their friends. And I where do I go to get the unwritten words or rules of Nashville?
Yeah.
You know? And I couldn't find anyone that could tell me this stuff. And so I was like, well, I'm going to solve that problem and create this so that I can, learn how they navigate the city, you know what I mean?
Sure.
The art scene, and hopefully each nugget that I get from them, I can share and other people will relate to it,
I like that you also go for different interests of creativity, not just painters or photographers or musicians. It's cool that you do that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm constantly trying to push the envelope, I guess, as who I can interview that I think would, maybe hasn't showed their voice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get more comedians or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that'd be cool.
Yeah, or there's just so many different. Because at first I was like, maybe I should call it the Nashville musician. And I was like, no, then I'm limiting myself to only musicians. And so I was like, artists. Then that opens up the realm for everyone.
Yeah,
almost.
It's a huge banner for sure.
I mean, obviously I'm not going to have an accountant on you.
Hey, but they can be artists.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you heard of, I got one more podcast for you actually, The Unmistakable Creative?
The Unmistakable Creative.
With Srinivas Ralph. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I can actually send you some specific episodes that I obsess over if you ever want to.
Yeah, send them to me.
My coworker and I were talking about all of these just ways of navigating the creative spaces, and I started sending him those and then sending him all of my notes from the episodes, and he was like, this is great. And I was like, I'm insane, but thank you for appreciating this. But it's they'll go through the craziest stuff, and it's the same thing where it's that banner is just huge. It's mostly entrepreneurs, but he had a paraplegic yoga instructor and just stuff that you don't hear often, and it's so good. Just how to recognize patterns and threads that have led to your creative interests and passions, and how to implement that in your daily life, and just stuff like that. Yeah. It's just interviewing people and hearing their take. There was this woman who was arrested for selling drugs, and he had her on before and after, and it was just really cool. It's years apart, but yeah, it's one of my favorite podcasts. I can't believe I didn't mention that one first.
The Unmistakable Creative.
It's so good. It used to be called Blog FM or something, and then they changed it because they were no, we need whole new rebranding, need to feed into this.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, here's the last question.
All right, I'm scared.
What is something absurd you'll ever do?
I do a lot of absurd stuff. This is like way too big of a grab.
I could give you an example for me.
Please.
I love vacuuming.
You love vacuuming?
Yeah, I detail cars for money.
Okay. I respect that. I hate vacuuming.
I just find it's very therapeutic to see something get sucked up and gone, I guess, for me. So cleaning.
Okay, I get that. That's a satisfying thing you can see the result of. For some reason, the thing that comes to mind is that I'm just like deathly afraid of ostriches, but I know that's not really an answer to the question. But I fear. That's what I do. I fear ostriches. That's an absurd thing I do. Wow, why is this so hard to answer? I don't know. I discovered that I can do this gross thing with my back where I bent backwards because for a while there I was trying to get good at doing a handstand. So I would read a book and do a handstand like up against a wall, and then I like kept practicing it, and then I fell in a weird way, and then I discovered that I could do this thing with my back, and I was like, hey, thank God.
You would read while in a handstand?
Oh yeah, all of the blood would go right to my face, and it sucked, but it was really fun.
How long could you hold the pose for, like while reading?
I could usually get through a couple pages, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw up.
Wow.
But that's been a second since I would practice that, but I wanted to get so good at it, and then I got good at a different thing because of that weird fall, where it's like I can just bend backwards, and it's like I have no freaking spine.
Wow.
And I was like, cool, new dumb party trick.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anyone saying they wanted to read a book upside down.
I love to read so much, so I will put it into any area of life I can. When I had, not a pixie cut, I had long hair, and I would always sit on the floor and like sit crisscross and like have a book and just blow dry my hair that way.
Wow.
I love putting it in every activity I possibly can.
What I should have asked you, what books do you like to read, or what books have you been reading?
Everything. I read this book recently called Black Chalk. It was unsatisfying ending, but really good book. It's like an English.
Or do you read
dramedy.
mostly fiction?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm reading Metamorphosis right now. I just never got around to in school. I don't know, sometimes I read a self-help book, but I feel like I learn more about myself by just doing than reading about it, but I want to be more open to that this year. So, I don't know. Yeah,
That's
mostly
cool.
fiction.
I love philosophy.
How about
Like, I read this
Oh,
every day,
nice.
the Daily Stoic, and then I've read this several times, the Leonardo da Vinci book.
Yeah.
But every day I read this in the morning when I have my coffee, and I have a couple other books that I read daily. But yeah, I'm a big nonfiction reader. Read a lot of science, read a lot of philosophy,
That's awesome.
a lot of self-help. It's been a while since I've read a fiction book. I don't know. I love understanding people's processes and stuff like that. And like that wisdom is like from like 500 to 1000 BC.
Whoa.
Yeah. So some of it's before Christ, some of it's after Christ, but it's so timeless. Like,
People are people.
yeah.
It's a biblical line, too, that there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, like I'll read today's for you.
Please.
Anger is bad fuel. There is no more stupefying thing than anger, nothing more bent on its own strength. If successful, none more arrogant. If foiled, none more insane. Since it's not driven back by weariness, even in defeat. When fortune removes its adversary, it turns its teeth on itself. Seneca. As the Stoics have said many times, getting angry almost never solves anything. Usually it makes things worse. We get upset, then the other person gets upset. Now everyone is upset, and the problem is no closer to getting solved. Many successful people will try to tell you that anger is a powerful fuel in their lives. The desire to prove them all wrong or shove it in their faces has made many a millionaire. The anger at being called fat or stupid has created fine physical specimens and brilliant minds. The anger at being rejected has motivated many to carve their own path. But that's short-sighted. Such stories ignore the pollution produced as a side effect and the wear and tear it put on the engine. It ignores what happens when that initial anger runs out and how now more and more must be generated to keep the machine going until eventually the only source left is anger at oneself.
Hate is too great a burden to bear, Martin Luther King Jr. warned his fellow civil rights leaders in 1967, even though they had every reason to respond to hate with hate. The same is true for anger. In fact, it's true for most extreme emotions. They are toxic fuel. There's plenty of it out in the world, no question, but never worth the costs that come along with it.
Wow.
No.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah, so like every day it's something like that, you know. Or this one, I really love this one from yesterday. It's basically like you don't have to have an opinion about everything. Like,
oh, that's so true.
we have the power to hold no opinion about a thing and to not let it upset our state of mind. For things have no natural power to shape our judgments. And like it gives an example of like, if someone says something negative about you behind your back and you don't hear it, does it affect you? And the answer is no, because you have no idea about it. And so that's how you can think about most everything. You don't have to have an opinion.
It's not worth worrying about.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I was like, wow, liberation.
Yeah. For real. Wow, that's super cool. I'm gonna get that book actually.
Yeah, I've been reading it for the past 5 years, and it's done wonders in my life as far as, you know, letting things go or...
Yeah, it's just a beautiful way to look at life.
Yes, I'm a huge Stoic philosopher. Because nothing is inherently good or bad. It's only our opinion of it that makes it so. Because at the end of life, you may die or whatever, but you choose what that means to you.
That's pretty sick. I like that a lot.
And that's the most powerful thing I've learned from Stoic philosophy, is that you create meaning by anything. You know what I mean?
No expectations.
No expectations. Well,
yeah, that's sick.
Thanks for coming over and doing this.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. This has been an awesome conversation. I've loved this.